Happy New Year! In this video, I'm going to challenge you to do one thing every time you practice that I think will make a huge difference in your clarinet playing in 2020. With 2020 officially underway, I wanted to give you a video that can have a big impact this year on your clarinet playing. And I also want to mention that I wrote a blog post over at quickstartclarinet.com/blog all about sort of clarinet resolutions and some of my do's and don'ts for your clarinet resolutions. So if you have clarinet playing or improving at clarinet or taking your clarinet playing more seriously as your clarinet New Year's resolution, then go check out quickstartclarinet.com/blog and you can learn more about what I think are some good kind of resolutions and some resolutions that I think aren't always super helpful. For me personally, my resolution is to just take the playing of the clarinet more seriously. So really drilling into the fine details in the music and getting really picky with myself to make sure that every time I make a note on the instrument, it's coming out the way that I want it. And as I'm playing through music, every single little musical detail is coming across the way that I want it as much of the time as possible. And my resolution actually works perfectly with the New Year's challenge that I want to give you today in this video. So here's the challenge. Every single time you practice in 2020, I want you to start with a very simple one-note long tones exercise. If you stop and think about it, if you aren't able to play just one note and get it to sound really, really great, exactly how you want from the very beginning of the note through the sustain of the note and all the way to the end of the note, if you can't do that on just one note, then chances are you're not going to be doing it when you're playing your music. It's really hard when you're playing something fast and technical to hear every single note. And that's why I think slow practicing is so important, because when you take something fast and slow it down, you might be surprised at some of the sounds that are coming out. And honestly, those sounds are coming out just like that when you're going fast. You're just not always noticing it. And sometimes maybe better musicians, maybe somebody who's judging your auditions, or even audience members who aren't concerned with playing and focusing on playing, those people will hear those things that aren't quite coming out right. So that's why I want to challenge you to do a one-note long tone at the beginning of every single time you practice, so that you get a lot of experience just playing one note and getting it to sound exactly the way that you want. Because if you do that, then you have a lot better chance of doing it in your music. And sure, there's some other steps we have to add in to be able to do that reliably in our music. But if you can't do it, then I guarantee that you're making all kinds of mistakes and notes aren't coming out the way that you want in your music, even if you can't necessarily hear it as you're playing it when you're doing it in real time. So all the one note long tone is you just pick a note and you play it with a great beginning with the sound that you want and then a great ending. So you can experiment with all kinds of different beginnings and sounds and sustains and endings to the notes, and having that flexibility is a little bit more of an advanced thing. That would be great if you're really getting it consistent and reliably. But first, I just want you to start off with imagining the best sound you can possibly think of, trying to play the note, see if you get that sound, and keep holding it and sort of experiment and adjust things until you get the sound that you really want. And then try again a few times and see if you can get it to immediately sound with your best sound, sustain with your best sound, and then end with a very nice release. So doing that might sound something like this. So you could hear on the first really long sustain, I sort of experimented and adjusted a little bit. I think actually the sound I got at first probably sounded the best, and then all the experiments made it sound not quite as good. So that's a good sign that I can consistently make it sound good the way that I want. And then I did a couple tries to repeat that really nice sound right from the beginning all the way to the end of the note. And you'll notice I had a couple that were shorter because I heard something in the sound that I didn't like, or there was something about the way that the note started that I didn't like, so I wanted to try it again. Remember, our brains get good at whatever we're doing, so make sure that you get as many repetitions with it going exactly how you want as possible. So if you make a mistake, try to do it twice with it going exactly how you want to override that mistake and get better at doing it the way that you want. You also may have noticed that the way that I was playing that was pretty just mezzo forte, pretty straight, good quality of sound, but nothing too interesting about the dynamic or the sound quality. So for more advanced players, you can work on doing like super soft and getting a really good soft sustained sound the way that you want, or very loud. You could try changing the character, so maybe like a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more background transparent sound, so that you have all of those tools and all of those options to implement into your music. Because if you can't do it on the one note, then you're not going to be able to do it in a musical phrase or when you have to play a technical passage. I also just demonstrated it on like a C just below the staff, but of course you should do this on many different notes because you have to play all of the notes. And if you can't play the notes really nice with just playing the one note and getting it to sound good, then you won't be able to do it in your music, just like I've been saying all along. So do it on a bunch of different notes. When I'm doing this in my like practice session, when I start practicing, I usually start on like a C or a low E or the C in the staff, some note that I'm relatively comfortable with and play a lot, just to sort of get my bearings, feel how the reed feels to get it vibrating and get the really good sound that I want. And then I'll do it on all of the different notes, all the way up to like the high super altissimo C, getting that to sound good, and all of the different chromatic notes, sharps, flats, all of the notes. So that's your challenge from me for this new year if you wish to accept it. I guarantee if you spend the time to think really diligently about how just one note is coming out and the sound quality you're getting on just one note at a time, I guarantee it will have a big impact on your music playing, and you'll find yourself able to start notes more reliably when you're starting a phrase or after a breath. You'll find that your technical passages are sounding a lot cleaner because instead of having all of this garbliness of notes maybe speaking or not speaking, making it sound really uneven, you'll feel comfortable and confident that you're getting every single one of those notes sounding just the way that you want. So I wish you a very happy 2020, and if you do this every time you practice, I can't wait to see the results that you're gonna have. Happy New Year, happy practicing, and I will see you in another video.